Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to take our factory 2010 to 2013 Camaro rear taillights and make them into one-off masterpieces. Now, I know you're going to hear that, you're going to think it's super expensive or something like that, but truth is, it's going to cost you less than 10 bucks and less than a day's worth of effort. So just like that, guys, we're going to turn this into something pretty crazy. Let's go. So the great thing about this, guys, is we're just going to start with our factory taillights like this. Now for me, I've already done them, so I'm going to show you what my original design kind of is. If I can pull over my light here, we can see that that's it, and it's pretty cool because at night they light up very, very unique. And I'll put clips of that right here. So as you can see, it all lights up, even though during the day and stuff like that, it looks pretty sinister like that. Very unique in how it goes from that just to those over here. And they're exactly the same thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna head to the store. We're gonna go get the parts needed to convert this into something pretty cool. And then I'll see you guys after that. So we're gonna go ahead and buy some tape. Go with this guy right here, $6. Can't go wrong. Then we're gonna get some Plasti Dip right here, $6 again. And yes, Plasti Dip I know, but get some Plasti Dip. All right, guys, we got the goods. Now I know it's Plasti Dip, but trust me, just let's do it, and then you can say whether it's good or not. And then we got painter's tape, 13 bucks. I mean, it's just, that's all it takes. So let's go. Okay, guys, so before we get to laying down anything on these taillights, we gotta make sure to clean it. Now for me, got some soapy water right here in a rag, and all we're gonna do is lightly spray them down, and then we're gonna take our rag and just completely wipe them down. You wanna make sure there's no dirt, dust, or grime, or anything on the face of these. Work around the edges a little bit as well, and just be really nice and cautious with it. Once you get your rag a little bit wet, after probably 2 taillights, you probably won't even need to apply any water. There's going to be a little bit of fogging and fading on your stock taillights, and you might even need to get even deeper clean than this, depending on how clean or dirty your taillights actually are. So we're going to wipe them all down, and make sure that it gets completely dry thereafter. Okay, so since they're clean, we're gonna go ahead and take our tape. I like the thinner the better, the more complex you can get, but this was just the thinnest tape that they had at Home Depot. If you wanna go on the internet and find something even thinner than that, go right ahead. When I did my taillights that are on the car right now, the tape was actually thinner than this, but it just depends on how complex you want the designs to do. So I'm gonna do 4 different designs on each of these taillights. Obviously, if you're running them on your car, you're probably only gonna have 1 style, maybe 2, depending on your taillights that you can. But I think these look a lot better than any of the aftermarket taillight options for the 2010 through 2013 Camaros. Or the 2014 and 15 Camaros, they had a much bigger aftermarket support for their taillights. So yeah, all you gotta do is cover up with tape where you still want the red to be seen or to be shown during the day. So that doesn't mean that you're not going to see any red around the outside, the spots that you don't tape them up, but you're going to Plasti Dip around these guys right here, so you'll be able to essentially see the clear whatever you tape over. So just like that, guys, I'm going to tape up all of these, and yeah. Okay, guys, so with the designs, you can get as crazy as you want. Now these were kind of the 4 that I just went with, just to simulate kind of some of the stuff you might want to do. You might want to do like a lightning bolt or a Z like that, you know, 3 stripes or something with stripes or verticals, like, or you know, horizontally diagonal things like that. You can go with kind of the old rally style look, but that's generally on headlights. And then I just kind of did like a little bit more complex. Now the thing is, if you do something like this, you need to make sure that your lines match up. And I know that's saying something, but when you're cutting things like those guys right down there, they need to be flat and kind of parallel. the more parallel the better. So even on something like this Z, you need to cut the edges perfectly so it's a bunch of layers on top of them. You can get even more complex than this, and even on my taillight design, let's see if I walk over to here, camera gear, it is even more complex because I didn't take it past the edge, and as you can see, let's see if I can, yeah. So as you can see, it doesn't come all the way out to the edge. So I had to make sure to get that line perfected on both of them. And so I had the corners to hit and all of that. Now, the cool thing that I think with this is that it's a matte finish. Now, if you got tint, you could do the same thing and it would probably be similar price, but I just did mine with Plasti-Dip because it's easier. So yeah, that's all you got to do. Okay, before I start spraying these, I want to spread it out to give plenty of room. Make sure to shake up the Plasti-Dip, make sure to do light coats. It's going to be a bunch of coats, very, very light. And something I want to preface before you guys get started, instead of just skipping ahead and going, when you try and remove the tape, it's not gonna, the whole tail light isn't going to be super, super dark. You don't want to make it just totally unseeable other than those spots right there. But you got to remove the tape when the Plasti-Dip is wet. Okay, guys? So make sure, no matter how many coats you end up doing, remove the tape when the Plasti-Dip is wet. Otherwise, you'll have like stretch marks on the lines, because Plasti-Dip right here is like a plastic thing over the top, plastic film essentially. And so we want to make sure that the lines are smooth. So when you go to remove the tape, the Plasti-Dip's got to be wet. But I'm going to open up the area and lay a couple coats down on these and let you guys know. Alright guys, as you can see, I set them all up this way. And you can do a better job masking some of the areas that you don't want to see. But when it's in the car, you won't be able to see them at all. So make sure that your can is all shaken up really well. And make sure to do a test spray. Okay. And then you're just going to go at it. So first coat's going to be a rookie coat. So it's going to be pretty light on all of them. It'll look wet, and it's going to kind of dry, kind of bubbly a little bit, which is totally okay, because we're going to keep going back and applying more coats. Now the thing with Plasti-Dip is you have to be very careful with how often you are applying your coats. You really got to make sure to let it dry. Especially on these early coats, you have to make sure to let them dry in between adding another layer on top of it. Now, when you look at it, you can add as many coats as you would like. The good thing about having the tape right here is that that will always be a spot that the brakes will fully be able to pass through. Not saying that's what you should just leave, but make sure to leave a little bit so it's not full black on everything but the tape where it's at. So I've gone ahead and let the taillights dry for about 30 minutes, and it's pretty crazy how dark it's already gotten. Yes, you can still definitely see all the red and stuff like that, but on one of them I'm going to pull it after this. I'm going to take the X right there, the second one in, and I'm going to pull the tape off after doing the spray. Like I said, make sure to do it wet, and then I think the others will get 3 coats. But like I said, do light coats, but make sure it's good coverage, and you want the finish to be wet, especially with the second one that I'm going to pull the tape off. You want to make sure to take the tape off wet. So just like that, guys, go ahead and do them. Always test before, make sure that you've shaken it up enough.
Should be good. sure that I get all the edges. And now it's wet. I'm going to go ahead, pick it up, and remove the tape. There you go. And
there we go. So there you go. Let it dry, sit and dry, and then we'll see how that guy turns out. And we're going to let these dry, get ready for a third coat on each of them. Alright, so this is going to be the third coat for the remaining 3. I pulled that last one at 2. And I'm going to do one at a time because I'm going to lay down a pretty thick coat, make sure to peel off all the tape, and then move on and do another tail light, and then move on and do the same thing until I have all 3 done. 3 coats should be enough is what it's looking like. But make sure it's all shaken up. Find this nozzle and clear it. And you're going to start with the middle one. Alright, there's our wet coat. I'm going to pull it and try and remove this tape as cleanly as possible. Alright, got that portion. Now, for the overlapping, it's going to be kind of tricky and a little bit messy. But just grab a corner and peel. Just like so. Then continue on.
yeah. Oh, come on, tape.
There we go. There's that one with 3 coats on it. So I'm going to set that one off to the side. The other one. And I'm going to go ahead and do this one right here. The almost lightning bolt looking one. Now, since it's been that much time, I'm going to shake up my can again. And before going with the coat, study the tape and make sure you know the order that you have to pull off the tape, especially on these more complex ones. Something on the stripe design, that's pretty simple. You could do any one at any point. But this one, make sure that you know, okay, I'm doing that one, and then that one. But shake it up, give it a test spray, make sure it's going even, and then there we go.
So I did that one a little bit darker. So we'll see how this one turns out. Starting down here. And take it on off.
Now you want to be careful where you're poking, especially if you've done multiple, because your fingers are going to have some wet plasti dip on it. It's just all about patience. There you go. There is 3 coats on this guy. And we're going to let him dry. And then we're going to finish off with the triple stripe. Now again, shake it up. And this one I'm going to go the darkest out of all of them. I'm going to do a very heavy coat on this last one. Just to see the difference in how it turns out. Alright, so that's a pretty thick coat. And notice how this only took 1 can, and I didn't even finish up the can. So, it's still plenty wet. Let me go ahead and remove the tape. And last piece right here. And there you go. The darkest out of all of them. And I will set them back so that we can take a peek at them. Be careful because they're still going to be drying. But we're going to now have a new design of rear taillights. Okay guys, so as you can see, this is how they turned out. Pretty cool if you ask me. And it's kind of interesting. This one that I took off after 2 coats isn't too much darker than, say, that one right there, or any of that. but it turned out really good. As you can tell, it's still drying just a bit, especially with this one that I did last and how thick the coats were. It's drying up a little bit. So my honest opinion about doing this the second time, because this was the second time that I've done it, the first time was on my car, is the tape that I used here, even though it's Home Depot's thinnest, still pretty thick. Now I know it looks like right next to that went out, but it was done good. All of these were done really good and I like them. I think these two would probably be my favorite, maybe that one. I mean, I like the X here too, but as opposed to doing something like what is on my car currently, which as you can see right here is a much thinner tape line that I had, as opposed to what we have over here, which has a much thicker tape scale. Nothing wrong with it, and it's just a different style, different for each. Now the cool thing about it with these is more is going to come through the taillight during the day and all of that. But this is what I put on my car. That was the design that I chose to do. And the cool thing is you can literally do whatever you want. Let your imagination run wild with this. You could do it out of vinyl as well, but that's a little bit more effort in my opinion. Taking the taillights off are super simple. You pop the tail or the trunk, you take the clips off the corner right there, and then the hardest part is getting room underneath these bezels right here. Now a lot of people paint those, which that would be a perfect time to do it. For me, I actually like the chrome because it's just kind of what I'm doing with the emblem right there, and it matches the lip of the wheels. So I left mine chrome. A lot of people go black or even paint theirs, but then you have 3 10mm screws or bolts to get that are there, and I believe the outside, which is on the outer one, it's kind of a pain. The inner ones are pretty simple. That's how you get them out and then be able to paint them. Fully let them dry, develop, and cure before going ahead and putting them on your car, and then reinstalling and all that. But I think it's the coolest 2010 to 2013 taillights on a Camaro. I know you guys asked for it, so if you guys really like this video, please do me a huge favor and leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, because we're growing super fast and have a bunch of awesome content coming for this Camaro and my WRX, but this Camaro specifically. I have a mod that's even here that I haven't seen on any V6 Camaro ever, and it's been done on a few of the high-end cars like the ZL1s or Z28s, but this is really gonna set this car apart from the others. Not that it's not already, but there are certain things that are coming in the near future that are pretty awesome. I'll give you a hint about another video that I'm still in the middle of shooting. That's all I'm going to show you guys on that. That means a new exhaust is finally here. I know you guys were giving me flack for my resonated exhaust, for a lot of the things that I did on that, which I totally agree with you guys. This new setup sounds much better, way cooler, but just like that, guys, I will let you go, but let me know what you think of the new taillight designs. Okay guys, so there you have it. That's how you make custom taillights for any car you want. That's just the designs that I went for on my 2010 Camaro. And as you can see, when I went through and did it a second time, it's a little bit different. I did different designs. Now something I would really focus on is getting really thin tape, especially if you're using Plastidip. You can go and use some vinyl and do it that way and cut out the vinyl, but I find that to be a little bit more challenging than doing the Plastidip method. Now I know some people have some concerns with Plastidip and stuff like that, but I have nothing but good things to say about it. I've been running the Plasti-Dip taillights for probably 4.5, 5 years at this point, and it's holding up like day one. It's perfect, would really highly recommend. So if you guys like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, because I love interacting with you guys and doing new content, you know, multiple times a week. I really appreciate all the love and support we've got on the channel recently, and we're growing every single day. I really appreciate it, guys. So if you're not already subscribed, join the fam, hit that notification bell if you haven't already, because just like that, guys, I'll see you in the next one for a pretty awesome mod.